Goodness gracious. I'll be right back.
Hey, it's time for this week's letter, and as a special treat this week, we're joined by our IT director, Mr. Randy Russell. Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Doing good, Chuck. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Randy, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been here, and how maybe you got into computers.
Okay. I graduated from ITT Technical Institute on Dawson Pike in '89.
Okay.
Associates in Electronics. In 1990, I went to work at the Pentagon and stayed there for several years. And then once I got married, had children, I gave up the traveling, and here we are.
So wait a minute. You said you worked at the Pentagon. Tell me what that was about.
Well, I really can't talk about that part of it.
Okay, all right.
And we've also worked for a company called SBA before SBA, which was a Small Business Administration, setting up their wide area networks across the United States. And that tied that back with FEMA's Federal Emergency Management Agency's computers.
Oh, my goodness. So I got to say this in front of everybody. We're lucky to have you with that background.
I'd like to think so.
Oh, absolutely. Randy's expertise is not just limited to computers. You might recognize him, Sans Hump, from our October Halloween video. So, right, Igor?
Next.
I just remember when I got here, there was a big emphasis on having a computer lab, and with PCs and computers and the big old CRTs and how much space they took up, and now we're kind of personal computing anywhere you want.
Anywhere, even to your telephone, just walking around. When I got here, we were using Windows 95 and Windows 98. You didn't have to log on. Everybody had their own IP address that was just, subnetted to the rest of the world. People could hack us from anywhere. Now we have firewalls in place. We have internal IP address schemes. They're not available outside of the network. The wireless has its own wall. There are two different firewalls keeping us, trying to protect the children from going to any bad sites.
So in one respect, it looks like computing is simpler, but in the other respect, it's more complicated in terms of providing the support for the network and the safety and security. And
there's a lot of layers that go on behind what people see.
So give me an idea how many devices that you might have to support during the course of a week.
I'll see probably 30 to 40 different types of devices. Overall, I'll probably maintain 300 devices. I have a camera system that records to a central server. Probably the main time-consuming is and the technologies that they're new to the teachers.
So we've got PCs, we have iPads, we have laptops. So you're kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to all the devices.
Well, I do like for the kids to have the opportunity to at least see multiple devices, so they're not stuck with a Windows computer or stuck with a Mac computer, but to see everything.
What kind of problems do you see on a daily basis? Let's say a kid knocks at the door and says, "My laptop won't work." Where do you start with something like that?
First, check the power, check the batteries. A lot of times rebooting computer fixes them. That's the last thing people try, but rebooting is the first thing I try. A lot of things get dropped and stuff gets knocked out of place. You don't really know it's out of place until you open it up and you can see that it's physically not where it's supposed to be. We have our telephone system. It's a Unix box. A server here that services the cafeteria and keeps track of transactions. I have the main server that keeps track of the clock. Once I get up in the ceiling, I have to pull the wires through conduits, see if the conduits are there. Everything is run by hand. It's not magic. It is actually done by someone, and it's usually me. The switch services all of the classrooms on the bottom floor and the cameras. Then it has a battery backup that holds all this up because of any kind of brownouts or any kind of power outages. What we're looking at here are one of the cameras, and there are 16 cameras around the school to record anything in case there's any kind of trouble. And this app on my phone, this is actually what you're seeing from camera 54.
Is it safe to say that anything with a plug winds up in your office?
That's my responsibility.
Very
it doesn't
good.
even have to have a plug anymore.
Okay. Mr. Russell, thank you much for your expertise. Please know how much we appreciate what you do for us here every day. Know how important you are to the backbone of keeping the school going.
Thank you, and I'm really appreciative to have the opportunity to do this.
Great.
A neat job.
It's a good match. Well, that just about wraps it up for this week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Spring break. Seems like we're never here anymore, doesn't it? Oh, and just one more thing. If you'll check your inbox on St. Patrick's Day, we've got a special Irish treat for you. Go Irish Bears.